She waved at the morning bus every day. One winter morning the bus came, and she didn't. The only clue left behind was a single boot print in the snow, leading nowhere and pointing to everything. Tonight, a quiet commuter town, a vanished woman, and a trail of ordinary details that unravel into something dangerous. Stay with me. By the end you'll understand how the smallest evidence can expose a life built on careful lies. It was November, in a town where everyone knew everyone. The victim, Hanna Park, 29, worked nights at the local clinic and spent her days caring for her aging mother. Neighbors called her steady, polite at the bus stop, always smiling. On the morning she disappeared, Hannah's sister found her apartment door slightly ajar. A kettle still steamed on the stove. The bus driver remembered her wave. CCTV outside the bus stop captured her stepping out into thin fog, and then the image cut. The only visible trace in the pale dawn, a single boot print, larger than Hannah's, pressed deep into the untouched snow, heading away from the bus stop and stopping at the edge of the woods. Detectives began with the obvious: neighbors, co-workers, exes. They cataloged every routine. At first, nothing fit. Hannah's phone pinged one last time at 6:12 a.m., a text to an unknown number. "We need to talk. Tonight." Her bank activity showed no withdrawals. Family said she had argued once with a patient, a heated exchange about medication. Two suspects emerged. First, the clinic's night nurse, quiet, polite, who admitted to arguing with Hanna days earlier over a scheduling mistake. He had muddy boots, but claimed he'd been at the clinic all night. Second, a deliveryman, seen near the bus stop that week. He had no record of violence, but CCTV showed a vehicle idling close to the woods the morning Hanna vanished. Then came the red herrings. A local with a criminal past claimed he'd seen a strange man by the tree line, but his timeline collapsed under scrutiny. A fling rumor surfaced online, pinned on a name that turned out to be someone else entirely. The town's whispers became a fog of suspicion. The breakthrough came from an unexpected place: Hannah's old sketchbook. Hidden in a drawer, pages revealed meticulous drawings of a small cabin at the forest's edge, detailed enough that investigators recognized the foundation in an old zoning map. A search of the property found disturbed snow and a rope snagged on a branch. No body, but a strand of hair on the rope that did not match Hanna. As forensic teams worked the scene, a twist: DNA from the hair matched neither suspect. It matched a retired forest ranger, Mr. Kwan, a man everyone respected, a volunteer at the clinic, a regular at community events. His alibi was airtight. He was seen on camera that night at a charity meeting across town. But so were several other men who'd later been implicated in cover-ups before. When detectives dug into Kwan's past, a pattern emerged. Years earlier, he'd reported a missing woman in a neighboring county, a case closed as voluntary disappearance. In interviews, Kwan spoke with a calm that made officers uneasy. He knew the woods like the back of his hand and volunteered to lead the search parties. Then the final twist: a neighbor's doorbell camera, previously overlooked, caught a shadow near Hannah's gate, not leaving but returning as if searching for something. The vehicle seen near the woods matched a van registered to a small landscaping company owned by the clinic's night nurse. Suddenly, the neat lines blurred: the nurse's muddy boots, the van near the woods, the ranger's hair, pieces of the same puzzle falling into a messy pile. In a late-night raid on the landscaping lot, detectives found the van. Inside, traces of soil, a torn scarf with traces of Hannah's DNA, and a notebook with dates matching clinic shifts. Confronted, the night nurse broke, but not in the way expected. He admitted to an affair with Hanna, then to being at the woods that morning, but claimed innocence of kidnapping. His story: Hanna had planned to meet someone who frightened her. He followed in a panic and fled when he saw the ranger approach. He swore he had nothing to do with harm. The investigation's emotional crux wasn't the admission, it was the confession of fear. The town learned that the person they trusted to protect them could be terrified of what the truth would do to his life. The ranger, questioned under new evidence, offered a plausible explanation for the hair, a transfer years earlier during volunteer work, but his calm couldn't hide a deeper secret. He had been mentoring young women in the woods for decades, a practice the town admired until the light turned on those meetings. At the center of it all was Hanna, a woman with a careful life and a dangerous private confrontation. The final piece came from an anonymous tip. A fisherman found a pendant by the river, engraved with a name matching a patient who'd had a violent history with authority figures. DNA on the pendant matched Hanna. It pointed to someone else entirely, a patient who had vanished from records years ago, suggesting Hanna had been trying to expose something and someone powerful wanted to silence her. The case closed slowly. The night nurse pleaded to a reduced charge of obstruction. The ranger faced inquiry and lost his volunteer status. The vanished patient's alias led investigators to a sealed file that tied an influential figure to past disappearances. No one moment fixed everything, but the combination of small, ordinary clues forced long-hidden truths into daylight. Hanna's family remarried ordinary grief into public courage. The town tightened its checks on volunteer programs. Justice, in this case, was partial. Indictments, resignations, and a promise that the shadow would be watched more carefully. What do you think? Was this a web of coincidence, or did someone orchestrate the whole cover-up? Drop your theory below, and if you want, I'll do a deep dive on the files that changed everything.